right, Infernal Blessings, we are back with another video. A couple quick announcements before we begin. Again, time is winding down to do a 2024 yearly forecast reading. You have about 2 weeks left to book one. If you would like to book a 2024 yearly forecast reading, shoot me an email. Put in the subject or the title of your email, please. Put in 2024 or yearly forecast reading. And that helps me identify it quicker, and then this way I can go ahead and schedule and book that. I'm trying to get, again, as I've been saying in all the previous last several videos, I'm trying to get those all booked before I stop doing them for 2024, all right? So also, if you're interested in any other type of reading that I do offer, a Klapothic demonic reading, a Santa Muerte reading, an Egyptian oracle reading, a deity reading to see what spirits, demons, gods, and goddesses walk with you. A shadow work reading, which is always a great thing to do. Shadow work reading is always good to kind of see where you're at in the current moment in your life. It kind of helps also dictate to you what kind of ritual work you should be doing, because sometimes people lose in the moment a sense of purpose or direction. And to me, it's very important that you're doing the work that you need. That should be your first priority, as opposed to focusing on wants, which sometimes people screw that up for a multitude of reasons, okay? All right, so you can send me an email, or if you want to book a spiritual consultation, shoot me an email. Please put in your full weekly availability, along with, the days and times of that weekly availability and the time zone that you live in, okay? That speeds up the process. If you want to sign up for classes, the way to sign up for the classes that I do offer, I do 3 private classes every month, excuse me, on Patreon, including a group ritual at the end of the month that we all do together. Speaking of the recording of the video, the date of this recording, January 26th, we'll be doing our Lucifer Draconian Black Mass charging rite this evening, as of the recording of this video, January 26, 2024. That'll be happening later this evening, 8 p.m. for Patreon members only, okay? If you want to get in on the classes and the rituals, and I have a bunch of ongoing series, constant new content added consistently. And again, when you join, it doesn't just give you access from the day you join moving forward. It gives you access to everything in the archives, which is going just about 4 years back and counting. There's 39 group rituals archived. That doesn't include the ritual and the work involved in the classes. Everything is archived. If you go onto my Patreon page, you'll go to the collections page, and you will see all the classes labeled, archived in numerical order. So it's easy for you to take them in the order that I've actually done them the last 4 years and counting. All right? So that's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti tier 3. That's the tier you want to join. That will give you access to all the classes. Also, mark your calendars. I'll keep pumping it out there. 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference will take place in Hollywood, Florida at Cultural Expressions. And that'll be at the end of the month in October, either the 3rd or the 4th week in October. I'll know more and more info to come on the conference as we get later in the year. But I'll keep pumping that date and time frame out there. Usually have people start registering for the conference in about August, early to mid-August, somewhere around that time. But more info to come on that as we get later in the year. I'm going to try to go live tomorrow night, the 27th of January, again, to do the Luciferian Sorcery, the anthology book put out by the Temple of the Ascendant Flame, Rituals for Self-Empowerment. I'm going to do a full review of that book and discuss some Luciferian practices. I myself am a contributor to that book, one of many of the Temple of the Ascendant Flame. I've been a high priest in the Temple of the Ascendant Flame for about 5, going on 6 years now. And it's work I take very passionately and seriously. I encourage everybody to get that book because it deals with self-empowerment. So I'll be definitely doing that soon. Tried to get to it last week. I couldn't. Just a lot of stuff going on. But I'm going to try to get to it this weekend. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Facebook, 2 words, Primordial Chaos. I also upload all this new YouTube content to the Facebook page. And don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify under that name, Primordial Chaos, and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of that is in the description box of this video you are watching right now. All right, I'm going to piggyback off of the previous video to kind of expound a little further. You see the title, You Become Your Thoughts, right? I want you to stamp that in your mind, right? You become your thoughts. Everything we do has a lot to do with your mentality, your frame of mind, and your approach. The reality is in spirituality, and many different systems, not just the left-hand path in the occult, many different quote-unquote paths of enlightenment or spirituality will tell you, you become your thoughts. What you think, you become. I want you guys to stamp that in your head. It's difficult for some people to grasp. You got to realize every single thought you think throughout the course of a day affects you on a multitude of levels to a degree whether you're aware of it or not. So as I've said, if you're walking around constantly thinking negative bullshit, if you're constantly walking around, and I'm talking about if you have some type of mental condition or medical condition or disorder, I'm not talking about that. If you're just a person who just thinks fucked up thoughts all the time, you're negative all the time, negative into what's productive to yourself, you're bitching and you're whining, you complain, you just think about just irritating, agitating, negative bullshit, you become that, okay? If you walk around doubting yourself, thinking you're going to fail at everything you do in your life, you become that failure. You have to understand every spiritual path of intellect and knowledge and wisdom will tell you, okay? Thoughts carry energy, folks. Peoples, brothers, sisters, kinfolk, family. Let me stop. Thoughts carry energy. I've mentioned several times over the years in classes, this is how people have nervous breakdowns because they have stressful thoughts all the time. Yes, you could stress about money, finances, a personal matter, relationship or marriage problems, this, that, or the other. That stress can take its physical toll on your body, on your mind, and your spirit and your soul. To the point where, yes, it can affect you physically. Illness, sicknesses, other aspects of discomfort can settle into the body and cause you to feel out of alignment, out of harmony, because you're constantly thinking negative shit, stressful shit, constant worrying. And this is why I've said many times before, it is critical to be successful on the path of self-mastery, of getting your mundane life in order to the best of your ability. Now look, I know nobody's going to ever be or ever have the perfect, their life is always going to be perfect and peachy fucking keen with no problems. That's not what I'm saying. That's not reality. But your problems, your stress, and your drama should not outweigh the more productive, positive things in your life. It should be to the point where when drama, stress, and bullshit comes, you're equipped with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding how to eradicate, destroy, devour, and annihilate, and solve those problems. So it doesn't mean bullshit and problems ain't going to come, because it's going to come, people. I don't care what path you're on. If you're sitting in a system where you think, because in the moment you got everything is great and flowing in love, and I love everybody, and everybody loves me, and peace and love, and kumbaya, you might be in a current state, a moment like that, and then what happens is when bullshit strikes, chaos strikes, you're caught off guard because you fooled yourself in deceiving and thinking, oh, I'm at a place now, it can't happen to me. Bullshit. So you're always going to have some stress, some drama, some bullshit in your life, but it shouldn't be to the point when you're on this path of self-mastery and you are a master where that is devouring and overcoming your life. Okay? I said something a while back, I think, again, like many other things, goes over people's heads. You've got to learn to fuel your magic, your intent of your magic and your goals constantly, 24/7. This concept, I think, goes over people's heads. As I'm talking right now, recording this video, I'm also simultaneously fueling my magic. I just left the gym and finished exercising. As I'm exercising, listening to music, My thought process is still fueling my magic, my intent, my goals, and what I'm trying to accomplish. It's a constant work and focus constantly. Now, it takes discipline and practice to do that, because you can get sidetracked with other distractive shit going on in your life. And once you are able to really utilize the power of your thoughts that's personally productive for you and what you got going on in your life, nobody can really stop you. That's the true power of Lucifer slash set energy, in my opinion, as I like to call it. All right? So keep this. I want you to make sure you think about that. Evaluate your thoughts through the course of a day. Do it. Right? We did exercise on this a while back in one of the classes. Analyze and evaluate thoughts that run through your mind through the course of a day, okay? And calculate in your mind how many of those thoughts are productive and how many of those thoughts are very negative. And how many of those thoughts serve absolutely no purpose at all? How many thoughts through the course of a day do you focus on that are just a waste of time? And I'm saying do that evaluation because it shows you how distracted and how you can waste time on things that serve you no purpose. Okay? Now, when you don't, and you're not aware of this, and you don't do it, you don't realize it. From the very moment you wake up to the very time you go to sleep or bed at night, every single thought you think about, regardless of what you're labeling it as or classifying it as, good, bad, beautiful, loving, ugly, sad, terrifying, whatever, it all has an effect on you spiritually. It all shapes and molds who you are and what is walking around in this vessel called your body. And how you feel on the inside is how you're going to express yourself on the outside. Okay? When you see somebody angry, pissed off, and miserable all the time, and negative, and this, that, and the other, that's what's going on in their spirit and their soul. That's what's going on inside the body. That's what they're struggling with. Now, I want to talk about two facets of this. When you see somebody, now we have to be careful because external appearances can be very deceiving, and I'm going to tell you what I mean. But for the most part, when somebody's feeling like uplifted and good and vibing on the inside, you usually see that expressed on the outside in their everyday life. Right? They're vibrant. They have a zeal and a zest for life. They enjoy life. They enjoy doing things. They're very outgoing, productive people. This, that, and the other. They just got a certain vibe. I try to do that to the best of my ability. I enjoy life. I enjoy the simple things too in life. The things that I do, the things that keep me occupied and help me grow. All of those things. I like to take the approach of the latter. Now, I will say this, be careful, because there are some people who are suffering so badly internally with depression and other mental disorders that they have the ability sometimes to mask that on the outside. So I want to put that out there. So there's certain aspects you must be aware of, because as I've talked before in the past about depression and suicidal thoughts, sometimes people stereotype and they think there's this stereotyping image that a person who is suicidal or depressed always just looks downtrodden and miserable and this, that, or the other. That's not true. And I know that from firsthand experience from losing my best friend in 2014, 2015. Okay? Somebody could appear to have a great life, and they do on the surface, and they might be showing that. But if you're around them long enough, and I fortunately my friend was on the other coast, but I knew him well enough, and I've always felt if I was around him regularly like I used to be before we got older and life kicks in, I know I would have sensed it because I knew him that well. And sometimes I beat myself up about that. I wish I could have been there, but wish, could have, should have, just wasn't meant to be, right? So usually you can tell if you're around that person, even if they're quote unquote faking the funk, right? You can tell that there's something wrong, even though their life might be going well. But my point, it is very important to have those productive thoughts, because those productive thoughts are going to filter into your everyday life. So if you're thinking success, and I don't want to come from, I'm not trying to sound like some motivational Tony Robbins fluffinator speaker or nothing like that, but there is some simple truths to stuff like that when you have motivational speakers. A lot of it is the approach, the thought process, how you think. All that is definitely affects whether you're successful or not. 100%. 100%. Don't let nobody fool you. Okay? That's real. Okay? So it's very important. You don't walk around being negative all day. And here's one thing that I see people kill themselves with all the time. I've heard this so many years in spiritual consultations and readings and just all types of work with clients over the years. I always hear this shit's crazy. There's a lot of people out there who have good ideas, good thoughts. It could be a business project, right? It could be they might have an idea to start something, anything, financially, business, personal, spiritual, any of the aforementioned, right? It could be any of those things. They lay out a plan, a design. They have a certain, blueprint. And then after they do that, then all of a sudden, they put it in motion, and then the doubt starts to creep in. I wonder if it's going to work. I don't know. Now, they had a good plan. Wrote it out. It was all mapped out, this, that, and the other. But then they put it out in the ethers, all this energy of failure and despair. And I don't know if it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Not sure. I keep trying to tell you guys over the years, when you're doing magic, you're doing rituals, and you're putting your intent out there, when we make that declaration and statement, so it is done, that's affirming. That's putting complete confidence in the work that you're doing. That it is successful, it is done. It is hard for people to stamp that in their subconscious mind. Then they go back and reevaluate and doubt their magic. They doubt the intent and the work they put in. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just don't know. You've got to learn to trust in the knowledge that you've gained and acquired. That is your blueprint. That is your foundation to success. But people don't trust in the process at all. People don't trust in the work that they've put out there. And these are people who claim to have read tons of books. These are people who have learned and amassed a whole bunch of knowledge. But like I've said before, and there's one video I noticed, and I laugh because sometimes it shows me where people's head. I did a video a little while back called "Knowledge Learned is Knowledge Applied," and it doesn't have a lot of views like the other videos, and it baffles me. Because part of this prep, if you haven't watched that video, go watch it. Because the whole key to being successful on this path is being able to apply the knowledge you learned. If you can't apply the knowledge you learned, then what you're doing is a waste of fucking time. It's not about reading a gang of books. It's not about regurgitating shit. I don't know how many times I got to say that. But there are people who think and believe because they've read and amassed a large library of books. And because they've regurgitated and can get into conversations and dialogue with people about shit that they've rehearsed and remembered, that doesn't necessarily mean you're successful on this path. Applying the work is the key ingredient to being successful on this path. So if you're reading books on Luciferian magic, the Qliphoth, ancient Egyptian Heka, vampiric magic, it's great. A lot of knowledge, a lot of power, a lot of stuff there. But if you don't know how to do the ritual work, if you don't know how to take that knowledge and those tools and that information and create that formula you need to create your path of self-mastery, then what the fuck is it you're doing? Basically nothing. Okay? So you become your thoughts. Constantly think of success. Now, there's something people do in spiritual systems, and I wanted to throw this out there. Where we at on time? All right, stay on a little longer here. See, I'm utilizing my time for an example. Like I told you, you guys see me filming these videos out and about, right? I'm in the line right now as I'm doing this video to pick my son up from school. You guys see me doing videos back and forth from my office, going back and forth to 9 rounds, to the gym, Planet Fitness, picking my son up, driving to hockey, picking him up from school. I'm utilizing this time productive to fuel what it is I do. I could just be sitting here in the car bullshitting. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just want to crank some music and chill. But I'm in tune with my own personal algorithms. So this is fueling. This is part of my overall goal and what I try to do in life. So I'm going to utilize my free time to the best of my ability. That's going to be productive for me and what it is I do. It's part of my goals. So yeah, I could just be sitting here chilling with a cup of coffee and just looking around, looking at the trees and looking at the other cars around me and just looking here and there. But see, I learned something. Time is precious, right? And as you get older, you start to value your time, right? And this is why I always say, like, when you sign up for the Patreon, for the mentorship, don't waste my time. I don't want to waste your time because I respect your time. Just like my time is valuable to me, and it is. I could be meditating, chilling. I could be doing something spiritual, ritual work, this. I could just be fucking getting some ass and satisfying myself and getting pleasure. I could just be having a nice cup of coffee, enjoying myself. That's how I live, people. It's that simple. You can't stress over things that you're worrying about that carry no weight. That's why I say you become your thoughts. So if you're thinking about failure, and I get it, this is why I did another video a while back. You must go for what it is you want in life. You must seize it. And I'm not measuring success. It's not just gauged by money only. Okay? Money is important. But are you happy in your life? It's also about, look, I've learned, again, there's things I can do in my career and profession where I can earn a lot more money. And look, I'm not struggling. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rich. But I'm not struggling. I make good money, not doing just YouTube stuff, because this is just something I do on the side. But if I really wanted to be like some people are, a workaholic, right? And that's not good too, because I see some people, all they do is work, and they're miserable. Like the song, like more money, more problems. That can be true. But I still make good money, but I've sacrificed a little bit of it because my time. I want my time to work on my spiritual self. But I've made that up on the side, hustling, doing what it is I do. So one thing I learned, and I didn't have that years ago, I was constantly having thoughts and stressing out about paying bills, doing this, that, or the other. How's this going to get done? How's that going to get done? I'm not saying some of that still isn't there to a degree, but it's definitely not there to the degree or level it used to be years ago. That shit's over. Because things get done. Because I think constantly I will be successful at every fucking thing I do in life. Whether it's this, whether it's playing sports, whether it's exercising, whether it's raising my family, my kids, my children, this, whatever it is, I'm going to enjoy life to the fullest, and I'm going to be successful at everything I attempt and what I do to the best of my ability. Okay? These are the thoughts you must think regardless Because here's the thing, if your situation is fucked up, here's the reality, people. I don't care what anybody tells you or tries to sell you. At the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck. So you better get up off your ass and do something for yourself. Okay? Whatever that is. Sometimes you got to start at the bottom. You might have to do things career-wise, this, that, and the other that you may not want to do out the gate. But remember what I said in the past. It's always about your intent. So I know some people, you might get in a bad situation. You might got to take a job as a short order cook or flipping hamburgers in McDonald's. Don't let your pride fuck you up. You may not want to do that at the moment, but that's a step to a greater or a bigger step. I'm telling you, I went through that years ago in the early 90s. I was out on the street in a bad situation. I had to come back and knock on my father's door, and I always had a good, decent relationship with my father. I had nowhere to go. I failed at what I was doing at the time. I had to come and take a job as a swing manager at McDonald's. You know, well, I started regular as a crew member swing. I didn't want to do that shit. Just having a kid, grown man in his early to mid 20s. That's not where I envisioned myself. But guess what? I always had the mentality, and I learned that from my parents. You got to do what you got to do. So I started to become the best hamburger flipper on that line at McDonald's. Manager started reckoning. Before I know it, in a couple months, I was a swing manager. Before I know it, then I was the assistant manager. Then next thing I know, I was out of there. Long story short, other avenues and opportunities open. Why? It wasn't about the McDonald's job. It was about getting my mind right and not letting my pride and ego get bruised. That's what do what you got to do, or do whatever you need to get done is about. Okay? So I got the school aide coming up. Got to tell him, picking up my son. See, I'm literally in line to pick my son up. You think I'm bullshitting? How you doing, Giano 29? Yep.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. See, I'm not bullshitting you. I'm in line to pick my son up, but here I am. I'm putting out content on YouTube. I'm putting out knowledge and information on YouTube, right? Because I love to do it. I'm not doing it just to be doing it. I love to do it. This is like my hobby. As they say, get a hobby. This is like my hobby. Do I have to do this? No. If I just wanted to be a workaholic in my profession and career, I could just focus on working and just stacking my money. But guess what? I've seen people who do, that's all they do is work. I don't want to be that miserable person who's got a nice house, got cars, got money, but never have any free time to enjoy it. I don't want to be that person. I've seen that. I don't want to be that dude that's working 6-7 days a week, day and night. Yeah, you might be stacking your chips, but guess what? The demons, the gods and goddesses have opened up the path where I have that and then some. And I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to stress that. I enjoy life. That's why you guys see me going I love going to the hockey games. I need to have that time for my son. I wouldn't have the time for my son if I didn't set things up the way I do it. I can spend time with my little guy and travel with him and do whatever he needs to do based on what he's pursuing right now. And see, that's because I put that intent out. The one thing I put in my magic all the time in my meditations and my work with the demons, the gods, the goddesses, and the spirits, I want to live my life how I want to live my life. I want my time to be in accordance with my time, how I want to do things. That's my intent I put every morning when I get up. It's in my invocations. It's in my salutations to my altars. I'm constantly putting that out there. My main goal in this mundane world is to live my life according to how I want to live it, and according to my time frame, and according to the timeline that's conducive to my lifestyle. That's when doors start to open up, people. Okay? This video's going a little longer, but that's okay. A couple more minutes since I'm in the line, so this one's gonna probably be a little bit longer. But I want you guys to have the same success. And I do hear these success stories. I wish I heard more. I love when people reach out to me because it makes me feel good to know that the information is sinking in. I do get emails from some of you guys telling me, Baniti, man, thanks for this and that. Well, really, it's not nothing to do with me. It's you because you got to put in the work. But thanks for the compliment, and I appreciate you acknowledging. Maybe I motivated you a little bit, but you still got to do the work. It ain't me, technically. And people will say, man, things have changed. I did this or that. Man, since such and such, things have opened. I love to hear the success stories because it confirms. right? It's about you, the individual. This ain't got nothing to do with anything outside of you. It's about your thoughts, your mindset, your approach. Because look, don't be fooled. Just like any other system, there's many people on this path that ain't got a fucking clue. Okay? Don't be deceived. It's no different on this path. Just because somebody says they're into the occult or the left-hand path or this, that, and the other, that really doesn't mean a damn thing, people. I told you gauge people. I don't want to use the word judge because it's not judging, but you gauge where a person's at by the results that they produce. That's simple. So a person could be giving you lip service, telling you they're this and that, and they're powerful and they're that, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at the person, you go, well, I don't see no living manifestation of what that person is talking about. Then that's usually a telltale sign that they ain't about shit anyway. Okay? That's why. You've got to see the results. That's the proof. Okay? And this is why I learned years ago, if I hear a person teaching on a subject, I want to see the results of that subject that person is teaching on in their life. So we've all run it. Don't come to me about investments in business and finance and you're broke as hell. And you fail at everything you do financially. I can't take advice from you. Don't come to me about health and herbs and meditation and holistic stuff when you sick as fuck all the time. But this happens. People do shit like this. And that's what I mean when I say you must be a living example of the knowledge you claim you have. What's so hard to understand about that? It's not being judgmental. Everybody should be held to that standard in the conscious community or any type of spiritual system of awareness. Okay? Like I said, unfortunately, in the Hotepper community or conscious woke communities, there's a lot of people Hotepping it around, talking about this and that, and then unfortunately, they broke as fuck. Or they unsuccessful in their life. But they talking about back in the day we were gods and goddesses and kings and queens and yada, yada, yada. But I ain't never heard of Pharaoh Brokey the First. I said that, man, how many times I got to say that? Show me Pharaoh Brokey the First in ancient Egypt. If they were all kings and queens, and they were successful and wealthy in all aspects of their life, then why are you not? Because if you're connecting with ancient Egypt and Kemet, then you should be a reflection. Don't give me a back in the day speech that back in the day. Fuck all that. But if you're going to connect, you should be a living representation of that. Don't talk about ancient Egypt and the greatness of ancient Egypt and you poor as a church mouse. Not just financially, just every facet of your life. Financially included, but not just financially. So that's keeping it real, as they say, right? And this is the difference of what we do. You can't fake the funk on this path, people. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that. You could do it on other paths. You could put on a dashiki, a big-ass ankh. You could put on your smell goods, your big African beads, your mood rings, and all your other cultural regalia. And you could say Alafia, and Ashe, and Hotep. And you could have your braids and your twists in your hair. You got the look down pack. You got the dress code. You got the regalia and the jewelry on. And people can be fooled and go, that person's very spiritual. Why? Because they got on spiritual attire and they got a natural hairstyle, so that automatically makes them spiritual. They could be the most fucked up, corrupt, contaminated, defiled person that you ever seen, and you just don't know it. Because you can fake the funk. Like I said, on this path, you can. You come amongst the darkness. You come in that sacred circle with the brotherhood and the sisterhood of light, real light or intellect. You come amongst a real circle of Luciferians, you're going to be tested on that knowledge. You come amongst us down here. And those that have been in the temple know. You come down here. You ain't faking the funk with us here. Because you will be tried, tested, and proven. Okay? And it's not for any fucked up reasons. It's because we ain't got time to bullshit. We don't let people in our circle that are faking the funk. Okay? All right. I went a little longer than I wanted to. This line's starting to slowly move. So I'm going to wrap this video up again. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Whatever it is, a reading, a consultation. And again, if it's a yearly forecast reading, please put that in the subject matter of the email so I see it, and I will be able to book that quickly. So again, the direct link to the podcast, the link to the social media pages on Instagram and Facebook, my contact email address, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links are in the description box of this video you are watching right now. It's going to do it for me. I'll see some of you guys later this evening at the Draconian Black Mass and Charging Rite of Lucifer. Looking forward to that later this evening. You guys be good. We'll talk soon. Infernal blessings.